Hello, my friends. Welcome to another video by me. If this is your first time stopping by, good day. My name is Bethany, and this is my boring vlog. Nearly 2 years ago, my man, our daughter, and myself left our comfortable and established lifestyle in Ontario, Canada, for a life we always chatted about during morning coffee. Fast-tracking our retirement plans, chasing our dreams, and risking our future, we purchased 7 unseen acres in the wilderness of Cape Breton Island in Nova Scotia. We downsized everything we owned, loaded up a trailer, our pets, an ATV, and hauled them to our new land. Many people we love made bets predicting our failure, which is fair, I think, because who would do what we have done? Leaving everything comfortable behind to poop in a pail. But trust me, the laugh is on them, and I'm really sorry they lost some money in the deal. But we're still here, we're still thriving, and we are happier than ever. It's been a magical adventure navigating our new RV lifestyle, our new climate, our new landscape, new wildlife, and building the world we dreamed of from the ground up. And it's been a privilege to share our journey and inspire others. So thank you for visiting and subscribe to my channel if you would enjoy the content of a 40-something gal running away into the woods with her family. So right off the hop, my friends, I have a confession to make. Remember all the things I said about renovating our big shop into a home? Well, you can ignore everything I said. Over this last week, Manfred and I came to a pretty decent realization and had a pretty decent discussion about it. The big question that has been looming over my head for a long while but was too afraid to ask is, why? Why are we building out the shop into a home? Is there an actual reason? Is it just because we feel we have to have a house?
Good girl, Dia. Good girl.
Do we really need to do major construction again this year? Are we not very content the way things are? And could we not do RV life just a little bit longer? To my surprise, even though I was hesitant to bring it up, Manfred was pondering the same thing. When I finally got the nerve to ask him my questions, I was so glad to see him nodding quietly in agreement. He added his 2 cents, which had me nearly collapsing in relief. Thank goodness we are still on the same page.
Here comes the snow.
The thing is, you guys, we have done a lot in 2 years. We have spent our quota. We had a budget for relocating and establishing ourselves, and we did well staying inside that budget. If you've been enjoying our journey since the beginning, then you know we still own our 1-acre property and large house in Ontario. In a perfect world, we would have sold that property, took the money and ran. However, we have our oldest daughter and an aging mother who lives there, and we feel better keeping the house as a rental for them. It's not an income for us, as our family contribute very affordable rent. So it just pays for itself, but it gives us peace of mind knowing that they have a home, so it's a good thing.
How beautiful is that sun?
Wow, look at that thing.
Actually feels warm, the sun. You can feel it. Wow, it's so bright, actually.
So for as long as our Ontario house doesn't deteriorate in our absence or cost us money to obtain it, we will keep it. We think of the Ontario home as a retirement investment. The longer we keep it, the more we get out of it later. My man works in HVAC, heating and cooling, and I groom dogs from home, so we aren't completely useless, and we can earn a little income to support ourselves. We eat well, we pay our bills, and we literally just paid off the RV, which is amazing. So we can redirect that payment into our savings. We are just beginning to breathe again, only to draw another $20,000 plus on a shop rebuild. Ugh. It makes me nauseous even thinking about it. Initially, I was on board because I got sucked in a little thinking about a flushing toilet. But the reality is we don't really need it. And we don't need a new kitchen and a bathtub. It's simply a luxury at this point, and with a shop build comes water line, power hookup, parking area, a lot of expensive supplies, windows, lumber, and so on and so on, and here we go again. Rat racing to be like another Mr. and Mrs. Jones. The bottom line is I don't want it. And neither does Manfriend. You know that phrase, why fix what isn't broken? Well, that's where we are. And can I be very, very honest? We need the shop as a shop more than we need a home as a home. Does that even make sense? I mean, you can't even believe how great this shop is. In the last month, we've had shelter for our snow machine, our ATV with plow. We have room for a couple stacks of wood. We were able to pull the truck in last week when Manfriend had to work on it, which is a blessing for real. We hang out in there. We cook out there. It's already a living space, a workspace. And truthfully, it's nice to have a hangout spot separate from the RV where we sleep. Not to mention, if we need to sleep out there because we have guests staying in the RV, well, guess what? We pull out a cot, a sleeping bag, and we snuggle by the wood stove. I tell ya, I'd raise my hand to volunteer for a shop sleepover anytime. We do have a few more things to do to the shop to finish it, some walls to close up and some trim work. We want to seal the floor and just cozy it up more, but otherwise, it's good as is, my friends. It's a pretty incredible feeling when a huge weight gets lifted. Without the overwhelming stress of a major build and construction over our heads, we can truly open up our thoughts to way more affordable and fulfilling projects to focus on, such as landscaping and gardening and preserving food, cutting, splitting, piling felled trees, tweaking our water system and pump house, upgrading the RV and bunkie to be more efficient, cleaning and creating our lakefront camp area, work on improving what we already have, because what we have is the dream. Of course, we have goals in mind for the future here and maybe even have a flushing toilet someday, but for now we're good. So now that I've got all that off my chest, and thank you for that, by the way, I feel much better with a little clean slate. I can tell you something else that I've been keeping from you also. Actually, instead of telling you, I'll just show you. That's right, my friends. My Tink had herself a litter of kittens, and we are so happy. We actually need more mousers out here in the woods. Mice around here are no joke, and it's a full-time job for little Tink. She is overwhelmed and she can't keep up. At least that's what I tell myself. These little babies are spoken for. We are keeping 2 and we have good friends taking the other 2. Tink is an amazing cat, so I'm glad to have her babies learn from her. Needless to say, it's been a very adorable week. Now, a little water update as we are heavy into winter now. Our water system is literally just a fingers crossed, hope for the best solution. We keep a very, very close eye on it at all times. It's a gravity fed, do-it-yourself hydro ram pump, MacGyvered and rigged up. Plus, it's a buried water line that runs from a stream into a do-it-yourself rigged up holding tank where it flows through the pump house into the dog shop, into the laundry machines, and up to the RV. So far, so good, but we did have a close call already. Inside the holding tank room, we have a little heater that kicks on just to keep the chill out and the lines from freezing. Last year, our line froze once and it was a near disaster, so Manfriend boxed in that portion of the line with insulated foam boards to block the winds and protect it better. We figured it out in an instant, but we almost froze our line once already this year during the recent polar vortex. We simply moved the little heater to be closer to the line and blow more directly into that box, and that seems to have been the trick. If the stream freezes up or if our line or ram pump becomes frozen, then we will be forced to surrender and manually pump to fill our tank, which we did for the first year and a half that we were here, and it was fine, and we will do it again if we must. And hopefully I won't have to actually show you the process before spring. Speaking of spring, it is actually fast approaching, despite what it looks like outside right now. Garden season for an avid gardener like me begins in January with the dream, and January is nearly over, so it's on to seed time. My February vlogs will feature less winter talk and more garden talk because it's so time. I hope you stick around on my channel to enjoy our garden and canning journey with us this year. Manfred and I have plans to actually put out a canning area outside this year. And I have a beautiful dehydrator to pull out of storage. I love dehydrating vegetables and herbs to mix my own spices in a jar. Remember that trail food cookbook I was going to start sharing recipes from with you? Well, as it turns out, it's a recipe book for dehydrated meals that you create yourself. And of course that makes sense because it's a trail food recipe book. It includes the process for dehydrating all sorts of meats and veggies, which I didn't even realize at first until I started going through it. So I'm going to start getting busy dehydrating foods. That way I can start making these fun meals at the sanctuary camp. And how does a gourmet meal on top of Squirrel Mountain sound to you? We are going to be busy making more grow boxes and containers and finding more space to grow as much food as we can, but nothing happens without planting a seed. So next week I begin sowing. I will share my garden specifics with you then. For this week though, the theme is snow and lots of it. Manfred and I jump into action with plowing and shoveling several times as it comes down, never letting it pile too high before pushing it away. The RV has done well keeping us warm. We have a propane furnace and we keep it set at 19 degrees when we're inside and using it, but when we're gone for the day, we click it down to 18. We also have 3 electric heaters that click on and off automatically, one at the nose of the RV in the master bedroom, one at the back of the RV in the toy hauler bedroom, and one that faces the door because it can freeze up during a cold snap. We are just beginning to stretch our legs here in hibernation mode. I've really enjoyed a relaxing month of winter storms, if I'm being honest. There's just something about being safe and warm while being hugged by blowing snow. Call me weird, it's a vibe. I'm still grooming dogs and hiking and moving my body every day, and I have a family to keep on schedule and a daughter in school, and all that keeps me from going into atrophy. Thankfully, but I definitely feel nature's force to slow down and cozy indoors, that's for sure. Manfred has a little circle of friends and enjoys weekly social activities such as dart night and hockey. He loves fishing and has a good pal who takes him on the golf every single chance he can. Our daughter also has a tight circle of friends. She takes weekly music lessons and she maintains excellent grades in school. Family skate, weekly bingo night, also important to us. So we seem to escape cabin fever with ease, almost like we were meant for this life or something. Wink, wink. And in case you're sitting there wondering, doesn't Bethany want a social life? The answer is no, not if I can help it. Bethany wants boring. I love Manfred and I join for the occasional outings, but only for special occasions. I have been there, done that life, and I'm protective of my quiet world. I had a very loud first 40 years, almost too loud, too serious, too controlled. So I'm completely content being free, and I cherish my intimate, lifelong, meaningful, kindred spirit relationships that I maintain even from a distance. True friends who are like family, and there's a very good chance they're watching this right now, so I'm sending you a big hug and kiss. I love you guys. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. I've been up since 3 o'clock. Little Tink, our mother cat, decided she wants her kittens to sleep with me and her. So she carried her kittens onto my bed, and I tried everything to get them to come, like to get them off. I kept putting her babies back in the box, and I thought, is it because it's not warm enough, or is it not cozy enough, you know? So I changed the little bedding in there. I had actually given Tink a little spot bath just to clean her up even more. And anyway, she just won't have it. She's like, nope, I'm sleeping with you, because she is so used to sleeping with me. And I think she thinks I'm like the mother helper. Anyway, I couldn't sleep very good. I was worried I was going to roll on them. Like, I had to go to sleep. So it's a big enough bed, and I have to keep like doors closed and that, because Tia sometimes sneaks into my bed with me. And so someday I'll tell you why I sleep alone and not with Manfred. And it's not because I don't care for him. It's because of sleep. So I just felt like I had to clarify. I'm out here. I thought, you know what? I'm not doing anything. I might as well work on editing. So I'm having coffee and enjoying, you know, some editing time here. I've got the fire going and everything is good. But as I was editing, I was like, I just feel like I need to clarify, because I made it sound like I don't want friends. It's not that I don't want friends. I have actually quite a few friends here, and I know a lot of people because I groom dogs. I know all the owners, and I see them in town, and I have neighbors that bring me jam, and, you know, I have friendships for sure. And I love meaningful relationships, you know. I love sitting around having coffee and just talking about all sorts of things, you know. I'm not a social person. I don't want to go to like parties. I don't want to be around loud chaos. I'm not a huge fan of being around intoxicated people. It just becomes hard to sit there, you know. And to be honest with you, the smell of alcohol is very nauseating to me. So I do it in little bits, you know. Manfred, I humor him sometimes and do certain things. And of course, if there's like a work party for anything, like I'll go for that. But I just want to be with my family and my close friends. And when my kindred spirit friends come to visit, of course, I drop everything and I am as social as they can be. Like, I do love being social with the right people, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to clear that up. So anyway, I was up at 3 o'clock last night. Around 20 after 10, our power went out, and we're okay with that, except the bunkie where our daughter sleeps, it has a heat pump. So I was worried about her. That was keeping me from sleeping. And I was watching that when they were going to get the power restored, and it looked like it was like 3 in the morning. And so I don't know, my brain just made sure I was awake at 3, and I woke up and I realized the power was still out, and I'm like, oh man, what time is it? And I look at my clock, it said 3 o'clock, and then all of a sudden it clicked on. It's like my body knew that it was clicking on. Well, then I was up because I had to like make sure like the heaters were back on and just make sure the furnace was running. Manfred actually ran around last night putting on generators, and we do have a generator in the RV. So anyway, I got up at 3 and I went down to the water pump house, made sure everything was still going. I was so stressed out about the water line because without power, we can't have that little heater in there. But it clicked on when I opened the door, and everything is fine. And the water is still dripping in, so it's still being pulled from the river. Everything isn't frozen yet, but I'm just shocked. It's about -10 maybe outside, maybe colder right now, probably -13. It's so good. I want to start my indoor seeds. I need sort of a south-facing window, and sadly, we don't have a lot of south-facing windows. So I'm gonna have to rig something up perhaps in the shop here by a different window, and hopefully it will get enough light. There's also an option. I might even use the RV. In the kitchen there's like my pantry, and up top the sun kind of beats in there. I don't know if it'd be enough sun. So I got one of these little trays. I do have a box under the RV, and it has some pots, like little pots. So I just needed little starter pods. So I just got one of these. It was at the Home Hardware, and I figure that's a good start. There's how many? 36 pellets. So I can do 36 plants in here. I don't know exactly what I'm going to use the tray for, but it will definitely have some of these Roma tomatoes. They're my favorite, and I'm the only one that eats tomato. But I love Romas for cooking and for fresh sandwiches and stuff. I've got some just regular green peppers, sweet green peppers, and of course hot peppers. These are Mexican hot peppers, so all sorts of different peppers. I'll go into more detail when I plant them and you can see the process. And then I wanted some Spanish onion. I always like that. So these 4 seed packets are going to be opened up this week. I also have a little box of seeds inside the RV, and there's like beans and peas and, you know, beets and, you know, all sorts of other seeds, and I can't remember everything that's in there. So I'm going to have to kind of do an inventory. I might have to go back to Home Hardware and get more seeds. But how awesome. They use Ontario Seed Company. So it feels like a little piece of home. So anyway, I'm going to sign off now, and I just want to thank you for, you know, watching my video. And today is the last day of January. Can you believe that? Tomorrow is already February. We got one more harsh month to get through, and then we can start to smell spring, you know? And planting seeds and planting the gardens, it kind of helps get through February. So I feel like my spring has already started. Anyway, I will see you on the next video with some gardening talk, some seed planting, and let's get in the kitchen again, and I'll make something with my sourdough starter. All right, ciao for now. Mwah. Coffee up.